Hello everyone, my name is Christina and I am reporting weekly from my San Diego garden located in California. This is an organic garden and this show today will be Hey Snoopy, did I read that right? Yeah, Snoopy 128. Welcome to the show. So today I will be talking about the new decorative jar that I just bought, and that's the one that you see right now. And I will talk about bulbs, planting bulbs in the garden and forcing them indoors as well. I will show you the new daylilies that I have planted, and I will also at the very end show you a spectacular rose that is blooming so gorgeously right now in the backyard. So let's just talk about what you see right here. So I will just try to move the camera slowly so that you get a little picture of this area. So imagine this area without that jar. It would be just plain dark, dull, and it just needed something to spiff it up. Oops, right now is sunscreen running into my eyes, not so comfortable. I went through the garage and I found this jar, and this jar has really a nice story. We have it actually a couple of years and was just sitting in the garage waiting to be used. And we bought it at a flea market close by San Francisco. We were living in the Bay Area before we were moving to San Diego. And this jar was just $15. Can you believe that? That is actually a hand-painted jar from Portugal. And it was just $15 at the flea market. And it was so funny, the moment I spotted it, someone else spotted it. And but I was first, so I got it. So I think people just didn't see the price of this jar. I think that's a spectacular jar. And as you can see, a little bit to the left side, let me just go a little bit closer and try to keep the camera as steady as possible. There to the left side is a rose blooming. This is called White Mightyland, and I think that just gives a very nice scene together with the jar. In the front you see some plants still in their containers that I recently bought. I'm still trying out how I want to plant this area. I'm not sure about it. Always takes me a while to make decisions. So the plant with the kind of squeaky green leaves in the middle is Stachys monieri humelo. I talked about that one last Periscope last week. And also here to the left side is this lily turf super blue grass. I'm a little bit disappointed about that, even though the grass looks nice, but it was flowering 2 weeks ago when I bought it, and you see now the flowers are already spent, so that's not a long bloom period. That's a little bit sad. So I'm redesigning and working on this area. As you can see, I will just go a little closer. Right in front of the jar, there is a Martha Washington geranium, and it was quite straggly. And as you can still see, I cut it down. You see the brown branches here completely, and it's leafing out. But I'm not too happy because the new leaves also quickly become yellow again. I pulled most of those off. So I just don't know if I want to keep it here over winter or if I dig it out and put it in a container and then plant it out when it is pretty next spring again. Just turning to the left, here is the Verbena bonariensis that I planted 2 or 3 weeks ago. And this one is doing well. There are always bees on this plant, and I'm very happy that I bought it. And also here you can see the plants are a little bit far apart right now, but I hope that the verbena will eventually mingle with the white rose, White Mightyland, and I think that will look quite nice. So we are leaving this area. So for people who just came in, my name is Christina and I'm reporting from my organic garden in Southern California in San Diego. So let me just show here what I just bought yesterday. Yesterday I went to the nursery. It was kind of crazy. We had yesterday 101 degrees Fahrenheit. And of course, even I cannot garden at these temperatures anymore. So in the middle of that heat, in the middle of the day, I went to the nursery and I bought these, I think you can call them vases. They are actually hyacinth forcing vases. I like that they are green. I have them already in just plain glass, which is very pretty as well. But I think they will make a nice splash of color on the table, and they go well with the color scheme that I have in the house, which is white, neutrals, and green. And then you see the bulbs in front. These are Paperwhite Narcissus. I think the variety is called Ziba. Here's a little label for the ones who don't. Let me just get this out here a little bit. For the ones who don't know how they look, I hope it's not too sunny. So that's how they will look, very common. And what I'm intending to do is to put these bulbs in at the top of these forcing masses. And I hope that in the beginning of winter I have narcissus bulbs blooming indoors in the house, and they have a super strong fragrance, very pleasant. I like it a lot. So I just hope that this will kind of substitute for a flower bouquet and just bring a little bit of the Christmas feeling to the house. And I think the bulbs, even when they are not in flower, just the brown bulbs, they just kind of hint that we are having autumn, and I like bringing touches like this into the house. So in these brown bags I have a few more. Just look. So they're really, I don't know if you can see them, I hope. They're really fat, healthy bulbs. And what I will do, I will plant them in successions. I will place them in successions in the glasses. So 1 week 3, then the next week another 3, and of course other glasses. And then in the 3rd week another 3. And then I hope I have flowering bulbs for a long time in the winter in the house. I have more bulbs of those, and I will plant them as well in the garden. I just hope that I get a nice wide splash. So if you're in the warm climate, now is the time to actually buy bulbs and plant them as fast as possible. Again, with the heat at least that we are having here. As I said yesterday, it was 101 degrees Fahrenheit, which is approximately 38 degrees Celsius. And the day before it was the same, and today is just slightly cooler. They just dry out quickly. So then let's just continue the tour through the garden. Let me just show you here one more thing that I did. This was another, it still is, another Martha Washington geranium. It looked so ugly and scraggly. So I was pruning that completely down basically to the nubs. And I'm from Germany, like some of you may detect by my accent. And in Germany, in autumn, we just dig the geraniums out and plant them in pots and bring them in to overwinter them. Here, last year, I overwintered them in pots, which was fine. And they were fine. They were just coming back in spring with new force. But this container here is in a very prominent location. As you can see, it's kind of very close to the front door. And I just don't want that to look like this for a longer time. So I think I will take that out and plant it into a plastic container and put it somewhere in the garden where it's not so visible, and put something nice here as soon as the temperatures have come down a little bit. Right now in front of this white wall, everything is just kind of scorching, so I don't want to do that to a plant right now. But temperatures are supposed to come down over this week. I think by Thursday or Friday we should be a little cooler. So let me just move on. Here again is the bed that I call my health strip. This is, let me just see, it's so hard for me to see because the sun is shining on the monitor of my phone from the back, so I have a very hard time to see myself what I'm showing you. So this is another Stachys Monieri Humelo. And as you can see, it's squeaky green, it's doing well. This one has rooted in. It looked for a time that I will lose this one, but now it's pretty clear it has rooted in and will survive here. So just showing you the bed a little bit more. Just trying to see if there is a way that I can see what I'm showing you. So the rose last week was spectacular. This is old-fashioned girl. It's still blooming nicely. And I will fertilize the roses one more time this year. The 31st of October is the latest date where I think you can do this here in California. You see here, if I go more to the right, this is Salvia Mystic Spires Blue, which is also still blooming nicely, and there are bees around. My little obelisk with the hummingbird. I think this is still quite a nice scene. And then when we go more to the right, this rose is almost over, but it was really flowering nicely for quite some time. This is Pink Pet, and it still has some trusses here. So this is the bed that I call the hell strip because it's getting so hot here. At the very end there is a kind of miniature Martha Washington geranium. I forgot the name of this one. I bought that at a plant market, actually from the person who has bred this geranium. I had never seen these ones with the small leaves and they have small flowers, but that also is not looking great right now because of the heat wave that we were having. So let me take you back. I will show you now a daylily that I just planted. But before I do that, let me just show you another rose. This is the Prince, and it had quite some flowers that I deadheaded already that were fried in the heat. But as you can see, it makes a few buds, so I will have some more new flowers, hopefully by the end of this week. Here's one more. So here, this is interesting. Here's another Salvia Mystic Spires Blue, and if you're a regular, then you have seen that this one was basically actually as tall as where the flower of the hummingbird wind chime is. So I would say a good 3 feet. And then actually last weekend we had rain, and it crushed actually the stems. A lot of the stems were broken. So I finally decided to cut it down. The stems that you see here in front I have pruned down earlier, and you see how nicely the salvia has leafed out already, and here is another bloom. And here in the back are the stems that I just pruned down after the rain last week, and as you can see when you look closely, it's already leafing out properly. So I have some hope that I see some blooms of the salvia even this autumn or winter. Yesterday in the nursery I spotted some more containers with this variety, and they were in full bloom, so that really gives me hope that mine will bloom again too. And actually I'm thinking to go back and get a couple of more of this salvia variety. This is a very good one in my climate. This is called Salvia Mystic Spires Blue. Then we go to the left. Crazy me, even in the heat that I just described, I planted this daylily. This daylily is called the Gentle Shepherd, and it is a white flowering daylily, and it's supposed to be one of the best white flowering daylilies. So I just hope that this will be true. I have read that this is slow to bulk up, so I hope that this is not true, so we will see. But so far it looks good, and it has actually survived the transplant from the container to the ground quite well. We just move on to the next daylily that I have planted. We are passing the rose Our Lady of Guadalupe. It's flowering. Here's a nice bloom. A lot of blooms of this rose were fried by the heat, and I had to dead a lot of the blooms. Let me just show you the bush a little bit in an overview perspective. You see there are still plenty of flowers, even though I have deadheaded a lot of flowers. So, but I think if it's getting cooler, it will come back and it will bloom nicely. Here are my other Verbena bonariensis, which I planted last week, and I have to say I'm quite concerned about them. They're kind of hanging and don't look good, so I don't know if they will survive the transplant. I have watered them, but I think they really have gotten a transplanting shock. So we will see if they make it or not. They definitely look much worse than the verbena that I planted 3 weeks ago. Here, this blue terracotta ball I just brought out again. I'm just playing to decorate the bed a little bit. I haven't decided yet for the final design, but it's just so much fun, you know, to bring out these ornamental blue spheres and also the jar that I showed you initially and just play around and place them in the garden. Here's the third verbena, again not looking very good. I don't know if you can see it, the leaves seem to hang. It looks like the plant is dry, but it's not the case. I watered it, so I don't know, I think it's transplanting shock. So then we're moving on. This is actually another daylily, the gentle shepherd, or gentle shepherd, I don't know exactly. Looks good. I just planted it actually an hour or two ago, so this is freshly in the ground, again and close to 36 degrees Celsius, or I think we have 96 degrees Fahrenheit right now. So this looks good, and I hope it will make it. Daylilies are supposed to be very tough, so I just hope that goes for this fellow here as well. Let me take you to the backyard. Sorry, the picture will be a little bit blurry. So we are passing here Marie Barbier, a rose that was flowering so nicely and is flowering still very nicely, but it has also tons of flowers, and you can see it that they are scorched at the edge of the petals. So lot of more deadheading to do, but I'm confident that as the temperatures will cool down, I will get more nice flowers from this rose. So now let me take you to the backyard. We will pass another bed that belongs to our property on the side here. This is another Our Lady of Guadalupe, still blooming nicely. Same problem like with the other roses, had a lot of white flowered, but not too bad, it's still looking good. So as we move on, here, the ones of you who have been here last week know this is an Alstroemeria. There was hardly anything to see last week, but I fertilized it, and the natural rain have encouraged the plant to appear again above ground. It had completely pulled back into the ground, and now it's coming back, which is nice because it's filling the space with a little bit of green. Here is even a bloom. You see the little blooms. This is a white Alstroemeria with light pink stripes. I'm intending to dig this plant out and move it to another area in the backyard, most likely. Then here to the left, you see a huge hybrid tea rose. This is Sweetness, and this rose unfortunately cannot take the heat in this location, and I'm strongly thinking to take it out and move it to the backyard. So here you can see the blooms. They are scorched. They have been beautiful, but 101 degrees Fahrenheit is simply too much. So let me just take you to the backyard now. We are passing a climbing rose, climbing iceberg. Still some blooms here and there, but also nothing to write home about. So sorry for the noise. We will pass now our pool filter. We just close the gate. Oops. Sorry for the noise. And if you wonder what this is here in the trash bin, this is something that came down from our Queen Anne ponds during the Santa Ana winds that we had yesterday. Oh, this is another thing that I did yesterday. You see these piles of soil. It's the brand is from Kellogg's. It's a mint, and I highly can recommend this garden soil. I plant everything with it, and the plants are really doing well in this soil. So a mint from Kellogg, that's a very good garden soil. I just want to say that I don't get paid for saying that. I'm just sharing this with you because I am convinced that this is a good soil. So we're now in the backyard. We have closed the gates. So let's just walk to the rose that I wanted to show you. Here's another one. Last time I didn't know the name of that. Still nice flower. So this is Sensation with SC in the beginning. And this is it definitely has a nice fragrance, as the name said, and I think the flowers also have a very nice pink color. So let me just take you to the rose that I want to show you. Here you see our pool, as always, with the white flower bed in the background. And here our faithful Doberman Skylar is just waiting for something to happen. So say hi to Skylar. is Skylar looking a little bit bored and wondering what's going to happen here. Sorry baby, not much, but later we will do something fun. So on the way to the rose that I wanted to show you, this is a rose that I'm testing in a container for mildew resistance. This is actually Mary Rose. This is a rose bred by David Austin. And as you can see, it is flowering nicely. Let me just come closer and show you one bloom. This is again Mary Rose, a soft pink rose bred by David Austin, and I think this is a very beautiful rose. Let me just show you another bloom. And the interesting thing with this rose is actually that this rose is not fried in the heat. So I'm thinking about replacing sweetness that I just showed you in the front yard with this one. Let me just hold the bloom a little bit more steady so that you can see it better. We have always a little bit of a breeze in the afternoon in the backyard, which is nice, especially by these temperatures, but it's not very good for taking sharp photos. So I'm going around the rose, and as you can see there are quite a few flowers, and for October the 10th, which I believe is the date of today, I think it's pretty remarkable that the rose is flowering so profusely. And I gave it today a good soak with fish fertilizer, so there are many buds coming still, so I hope they get, here for example are two, they get some nourishment from this and will develop and will also be bigger. The flowers are not very big right now. That has to do with the heat, and maybe also because I haven't watered the container as frequently as I should have. So just one more thing to do. Let's have a look together at my irises that I planted 2 weeks ago. And I have to say already, I can give that away, they have made remarkable progress. So, first we had the noise from the pool pump, now we have the noise from the air condition, but we won't be here for long. So you see how the new iris leaves are coming up here. This is Iris Rio Vista. This is supposed to be a very pale lavender one. Here is the label. And then this is Clarence. That is, if I remember correctly, a blue-white one. And you can see here the new shoots that are coming. So these guys are doing well. And the last one is actually the one who has made the most progress. So underneath the dry leaves, you see here, there are really new green leaves coming. So I think they are starting to thrive, and I hope I will get hooks. I'm entangled with a rose in the pot, sitting in the pot in front of the iris with the cable from my headphone. So this is best bet, and I think this is doing well. I'm hopeful that all 3 irises are taking, and then hopefully I'm getting beautiful flowers from them next spring. This is the end of my tour. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope you will come back next week. Usually I'm periscoping weekly about my garden. I'm loading these videos up to my garden blog, which is organicgardendreams.com. Again, organicgardendreams.com. So if you want to see the video again, you can just visit my blog and see it. Or you can also have a look at the blog. I'm writing articles about other gardens that I have visited, but of course also about my own garden with lots of photos. So unfortunately, the Periscope videos are not the most sharpest on YouTube for some reason. So if you want to see my garden in a better quality on photos, please visit my garden blog, organicgardendreams.com. I'm wishing everyone a nice rest of the Sunday in America, and anyone else in the world a very lovely and wonderful week. I hope you come back to visit me next week and see what is happening in my garden. Thank you so much for your visit. Goodbye.